the train pulled into Rabiniki Station. Stopping for merely 2 minutes, I didn't feel anxious because apart from me and an old gentleman, nobody else waited outside. After all, why would anyone choose to come to such a desolate spot voluntarily? Here resided my mother, aged beyond reason. Many times I pleaded with her to relocate to the city, but each time she flatly refused, preferring to remain rooted in the village. In truth, little life existed here anymore. Just a few souls lingered, isolated without stores or reliable transportation. Back in my childhood, the village boasted a school, tiny store, modest chapel, and twice daily buses. Those amenities lent it a semblance of civilization. Now, however, these essentials had vanished, replaced only by an infrequent grocery van making weekly visits. At the far edge of the settlement stood our homestead. Carrying my luggage along the dusty path, I grumbled inwardly at the oppressive heat, aching shoulders, and relentless discomfort caused by stones wedging themselves into my worn-out sandals. With impatience, I kicked open the rickety gate, which squeaked ominously upon impact with the fence, before returning to its usual position. Entering the yard, I released a loud exclamation, partly out of relief, partly from irritation. Instantly, Mom's reassuring voice called out from nearby. Hidden among the overgrown foliage, she drew water from the ancient well. Even now, seeing her stirred fond emotions, long buried beneath adult responsibilities. Stepping indoors, I quickly arranged my belongings in my former room and joined Mom for lunch. She'd prepared more food than necessary, piling dishes high until the table groaned under their collective weight. "It's wonderful you're here," she declared joyfully, expressing concern about the deteriorating condition of our dwelling. Yet, rather than empathy, a simmering resentment began rising within me. Why clung she so tenaciously to this decrepit shack, lacking basic conveniences? For 2 days, I indulged in leisure reading books, browsing aimlessly on my phone, enjoying minimal exertion. Then, inevitably, the 3rd day arrived. Tackling the roof repair proved excruciating, especially under unrelenting sunshine. Hours passed slowly, sweat pouring freely as I labored tirelessly. Finally, collapsing onto my mattress late that evening, too weary even to reach for my phone, slumber enveloped me swiftly despite earlier disruptions caused by mysterious sounds echoing faintly throughout the darkened rooms. Once completed, I shifted focus toward repairing the fence. This chore progressed faster than anticipated, freeing the ladder to stroll casually to the familiar pond. Gazing across its tranquil surface, waves of nostalgia engulfed me, evoking vivid recollections of summer escapades spent splashing and fishing alongside childhood friends. Presently, though, only a pair of solitary anglers occupied distant banks. Their presence underscored starkly how profoundly circumstances had altered, deepening my gloom. That night, sleep abandoned me entirely. Restlessly pacing kitchen floors, sipping endless cups of tea, chaotic thoughts whirled ceaselessly within my head. Meanwhile, Mom slumbered peacefully in the adjacent room, unaware of my inner turmoil. Exhausted both mentally and physically, I eventually succumbed to brief intervals of shallow sleep, interrupted periodically by additional eerie noises resonating faintly amidst the stillness. My body eventually succumbed to fatigue, and I couldn't resist the intense desire to fall asleep. Had it not been for that infernal tea kettle, I would have slumbered straight through till dawn. Reluctantly rising from bed, I made my way toward the kitchen in darkness, not wanting to disturb Mom by switching on any lights. Upon reaching the kitchen, however, something immediately struck me as odd. The cellar door was slightly ajar. Closer examination revealed distinct footprints descending the stairs, caked in dirt, as though whoever left them had purposefully tramped through mud beforehand. Questions swirled through my head, but one notion prevailed. Perhaps Mom is losing touch with reality. At her age, it's not inconceivable. Maybe she's concealing her descent into madness whenever I'm present. Lowering myself into the cellar, I encountered a disconcerting scene. Walls defaced with blackish, brown soil, clods of earth spread across the floor, shattered jars scattered all around. Chaos reigned here. Suddenly, Mom's voice echoed from above, causing me to jump and drop my phone. "See this for yourself," I bellowed back. Unhurriedly, she descended alongside me, evidently baffled by whatever awaited below. Once we reached the basement, she queried, genuinely bewildered, "What's going on here?" Suspecting she might bear responsibility, I insisted she display her hands, imagining they'd be filthy. Yet they were spotlessly clean. Only one conclusion remained plausible. An intruder had breached our home. Chills ran down my spine at the mere thought. 4 hours afterward, neither of us could sleep, opting instead to fortify the cellar entrance using the kitchen table as precautionary measure. Morning arrived. After shifting the table aside, we sat sipping tea, attempting idle chat despite words sticking stubbornly in our throats. In subsequent days, Mom adopted the habit of staying up late, glued to television, whereas I took to rousing repeatedly throughout the night, terrorized by each unfamiliar noise. These shifts gradually eroded our relationship, rendering communication increasingly rare. Our final evening together concluded with a decision to share a meal. Mom prepared soup and fried cutlets, retrieving homemade vodka. Alcohol relaxed us sufficiently, enabling us to remain awake well beyond midnight. Tired, we retired to separate rooms. Hours later, nature summoned me from slumber. Exiting my chamber, I promptly detected something amiss. Activating the overhead light exposed a dark mass resting upon the floor, a heap of dirt. Instant dread seized me. Panicked, I hollered, "Mom, is everything all right?" Silence answered. Proceeding tentatively toward the kitchen, I noted the cellar door gaping ominously open. Below, disorder ruled supreme. Overturned furniture, debris strewn everywhere, streaks of grime adorning the walls. Horrified, I hurried to inspect Mom's bedroom. Empty bed, rumpled pillows, discarded blanket. It was obvious she'd vanished elsewhere. Racing outdoors, I scoured the yard desperately. Still, no trace existed. Standing once more before the cellar entryway, I understood exactly where she must be. Summoning courage, I illuminated its murky interior with my cell phone torch. Descent proved uneventful initially, until I recognized how protractedly I'd traversed those interminable steps. They stretched indefinitely. Raising my gaze, I spied the exit situated several meters higher. Although trepidation gnawed at me, I persisted further downward. Arriving at the cellar floor, carnage greeted me. Racks demolished, containers pulverized, every surface drenched in muck. Stunned, I froze momentarily, reflecting upon recent events. Then, abruptly, something cold landed heavily onto my shoulder. Reacting impulsively, assuming it belonged to Mom, I spun round to confront an unspeakably grotesque apparition. Its gaunt visage, gargantuan pitch-black orbs, fixated intently, cavernous maw, drooling fetid fluid, this aberration materialized directly opposite me. Initially paralyzed, I screeched, wrenching free from its grip and sprinting recklessly upward. Escaping the cellar faster than ever imagined possible, I fled its terrors forevermore. Behind me came the sound of pounding footsteps. It was chasing after me. My body instinctively carried me towards the exit at an even faster pace. If I had tripped or hesitated for a moment, it's too frightening to imagine what might have happened next. I've never understood the expression second wind, but it was only then, as I approached the exit, that I felt a surge of energy. In one leap, I cleared several final steps and jumped out from the cellar before slamming down the heavy wooden lid. Just before closing the hatch, I caught sight of its face, a sight I'll never forget. It could easily have caught me if not for my quick reflexes. The last thing I did to keep this creature contained was knock over a massive oak table onto the cover. Almost immediately afterwards, loud, inhuman blows echoed from inside the cellar. Apparently, it was hitting the lid with its hands trying to escape. Without delaying any further, I hurriedly gathered my belongings and sprinted toward the station. The first train would pass through here at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I didn't care. The night was cool, so I paced back and forth on the platform, smoking cigarette after cigarette, while trying to stay warm by moving around. There wasn't even a hint of desire within me to return there. As for how I boarded the train and made it home, memory seems to have blocked out those details entirely. I don't recall entering the carriage clearly. What's more interesting is what happened when I began searching for my mother. To be prepared, I'd stored some villagers' phone numbers in my cell phone. Once safely home, I called them and recounted everything that had occurred without holding anything back. Honestly, I expected they'd think I was crazy, but surprisingly, that didn't happen. They revealed that most people who recently died from heart attacks were found at their homes in the cellar, specifically, and each time, the cellar was left in complete disarray. No one paid much attention except the residents themselves. The police dismissed these incidents because no crime seemed evident. However, things turned differently regarding my mother's case. She wasn't found anywhere despite all measures I took upon returning home, filing a missing person report with the police and contacting search and rescue teams. Unfortunately, none of these efforts yielded results. Now, I'm unable to bury her properly since I don't know where her remains are located. Sometimes, I entertain thoughts that perhaps she escaped that night, fleeing her house and wandering somewhere else, still alive. But common sense tells otherwise. It's unlikely she managed to evade that creature unharmed.